Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Whiskey Wheels Wounds. As always, I'm Shawn, 9-year Air Force vet.
And I'm Jeff.
My name is Jeff. My name is Jeff. This is Weave Dickers.
Weave Dickers. Only a select few people can allow to call me that and live to tell the tale.
One of them is a current 7-year-old.
Yes. The only one currently is a 7-year-old.
All right. So this week's featured whiskey is
Yeah, it's Devil's Brigade. It's from Willie's out of Montana, Enos, Montana. And
which would you have said would have been a better whiskey for our Canada trip episode.
it would have, because
It ties in.
It ties in. Yeah, so this is made up of 60% American bourbon and 40% Canadian whiskey, just like the percentage of men assigned to the unit. This blend of whiskeys is their way of honoring the bravery and valor of these men who fought in World War II with distinction. The legacy continues with current American Canadian Special Operation Forces. So basically, the Devil's Brigade was a combination of an American brigade and a Canadian brigade. They combined them. 60% of that brigade was American. The other 40 is Canadian.
Reading through the back of this was the part that caught me. All right. The worst is yet to come was written on the death cards placed upon dead Nazis by the Devil's Brigade. Officially known as the 1st Special Service Force, the Devil's Brigade trained at Fort Harrison near Helena, Montana,
Yep.
and was comprised of backcountry rangers, soldiers, lumberjacks, Northwoodsmen, hunters, prospectors, explorers, game wardens, and mountain men who volunteered to join the secretive unit in 1942.
Yeah.
Dude, that is like the fucking roster of men's men.
Right. Are we allowed to say that now?
I don't give a shit. That is not toxic masculinity. That is the pinnacle of masculinity. Okay, you can be masculine too, Bear. Like, when I read that, I was like, I mean, you got fucking lumberjacks, mountain men, like those dudes are.
So the movie, if you are a war movie buff, the Devil's Brigade, tells the tale of how these two units got together. Of course, there was a lot of strife in the beginning of American military and Canadian military, and then by the end of the movie, they all came together. If I can change and you can change, we can all change. That's Rocky said that, but you get it. But yeah, so at the end of the movie, they go out, they bond over beers, go figure, and um, and then they get sent forth to close with and destroy the Germans, and they did so.
So it's based. The movie is a 1968 movie,
Right.
based on the 1966 novel of the same name, written by the author Robert H. Adelman and Colonel George Walton, who is a member of the unit. So you're getting firsthand account.
Right. So
that's gangster.
So basically, how they did it was there was an American colonel in charge. The executive officer was American. The S3 was Canadian. So the head shed was, excuse me, a mixed match of both. You know what I mean? And then they would have a platoon of Americans. So I mean, I guess not platoons. When you're talking about brigade, but yeah.
Either way, that's badass.
Yeah, it's badass. And I had the pleasure, and I say pleasure, I had the pleasure of when I was the brigade engineer down in Fort Benning for the 3rd ID, we went out to the National Training Center, and we had
which is a great vacation, I've heard.
Oh yeah. 13 times I spent 13 months I spent in the Mojave Desert. Um, um, so my brigade engineer, a major, he was like, "Hey, we have a company of um, Canadian engineers coming in. Can you go to the airport and meet them?" Yes, sir. So I head to the airport in a 15-passenger van to meet them. Their flight was a little delayed. They get off the plane. Now, the Canadian Army is integrated with male and females. So they get off the bird, and their sergeant major is like, "When would you like to go?" And I'm like, "I'm ready now, sergeant major." He's like, "No, I just want to know how much time I have to drink." I'm like, "Drink as much as you want." He's like, "Okay, we're going to the bar." So they go to the bar and they drink. And then, I'm on the phone with my major, and he's like, "So, when you coming?" And I'm like, "When they're done." He's like, "What are they doing?" I'm like, "They're drinking." He's like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, "Their sergeant major said they're not training until they drink." So then we get back to Fort Irwin, and you know, um, American Army, we have male tent, female tent. No, Canadians were like, we don't do that gay shit. The female, the Canadian females are like, we're not staying in there with them hens. I'm like, and Sergeant Major's like, this tent's just for us. I'm like, yeah. I said, but the female cots are over here. He's like, no, they'll stay with us, and they did. I'm like, man, that's all right.
In, I want to say 98, 99, I can't remember the exact year. It's called the Air Mobility Rodeo, and different um, air forces from around the globe send a team with a cargo plane, and it's kind of like a competition to see who's got the best mobility team as far as loading aircraft, unloading aircraft, dropping it off, low level, the whole gamut. And so I, as a young airman, was working that. I volunteered to work it for the week because I want to be experienced to different. So I met a lot of crazy people, saw a lot of crazy things while I was doing that. But that reminds me when the Brits showed up, their C-130 landed. The back drops. They pull a pallet of parts off. They pull a pallet of alcohol off.
Yeah,
And one of the guys was wearing a kilt. They're all up at the tents.
right.
Tents getting during like what would be like the meet and greet. He's getting fuggered. The wing commander, the base commander, his wife made the mistake of asking what was under his kilt. So she got
Feast,
full
feast
full
these eyes,
view, full view
feast your eyes.
of the twig and berries, the wedding tackle.
Right.
Her face was beet red. Of course, everybody loves it because it's hilarious.
Well,
Oh my God. I'm so glad I was not the escort for her and had to explain that one to the colonel.
woo, woo. I come from the ilk. There's only one way to wear a kilt. So
Yeah, well, I'm fat, so
I'm fat too, goddammit.
but there's levels to
I'm
this shit.
just saying. I'm fat too.
Your fat and my fat are not the same. How much do you weigh?
330.
Okay, I weigh 350. How much taller are you than me?
Right. I get it. Just saying.
Don't nobody want my ball sweat touching the floor.
I've been told after I've shown my balls to people that nobody wants to see my balls. But I'm just saying,
There's a reason nobody goes and watches a morbidly obese stripper.
I yes, I'm wearing underwear this year.
Now that we've gotten completely off topic,
Yeah.
this week's episode is going to be chapter 2 or volume 2
Volume 2.
of our military charity highlights. I mean, I can't remember how we worded it on the title for the last one, but we talked about the organization that we're a member of.
Yep.
Our particular chapter
Mhm.
of the CVMA, chapter 12-6, we have 3 charities that we put all of our fundraising efforts towards. We're going to talk about 2 of them today.
Right.
One is Dogs Inc.,
Mhm.
which anyone who's listened last year and this year knows that last year we had Shawn Brown and oh shit, what's his name? I lost his name.
Morgan.
Yes. On for an episode.
I wasn't pausing because I was waiting for you to get it.
Oh,
I was running through I
oh,
didn't know you were gonna bring that up, or I would have had that ready.
oh,
But
sorry.
yeah,
That's my bad.
no,
But they were on last year
Shawn
for
and
the
Morgan.
Faithful Companion episode,
Yep.
and at that time it was known as Southeastern Guide Dogs.
Yep.
Since then, they've done a little rebranding to kind of more in line for the total mission that they do.
And the reason why is, they get a lot of calls every day asking them if they're just, they just cater to southeastern United States, and they were like, "No, we're in all 50 states." Oh, well, then
Right.
why is it called southeastern?
As they've grown,
Yes,
and as their mission has expanded,
yes,
and their reach has expanded,
yep,
some rebranding needed to take effect.
absolutely,
Yeah. So, but last year when we talked to them about the mission that they had, they were known as Southeastern Guide
yep,
Dogs. This year they're Dogs Inc. So when we
mhm,
talk about Dogs Inc., it's the same entity,
yep,
just a little rebranding.
yep,
Um, so we're going to talk a little bit about what they do,
mhm,
why it's important for our chapter to give money to them every year, and then the other one we're going to talk about is Disabled Veterans Outdoors.
right,
That's a local chapter or a local charity to us.
mhm,
They do a lot of stuff right here in southeastern Ohio. Um, Ed and the guys over there and the ladies over there, they're awesome.
they are,
Um, and so they do a lot of good, and that's important to us for what they do and how they help veterans, that we throw the might of our little chapter. We talked when we talked about this our chapter, we talked about the impact our fundraising has, and in a small charity like this, our fundraising has a huge impact, which gives us even more of a sense of pride that we can do something to help out them achieve the mission that they put forth every
right.
year.
And I talked to Ed last week. He won't be at our run this year. He has a conflicting event with Disabled Veteran Outdoors, which for anyone who knows Ed, you know that he is one who wins a lot of the auction items because he outbids people.
It's a sense of pride for him.
It is, and it's his part of everybody has that thing that lets them feel like they're giving back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he has that thing. I don't know how many items I've brought home for him because and we've given him outside of our events that he's won, but he won't be there this year. His vice president will be there, and they will have they might have the truck there, but I told him we'd give them a table like we do every year,
Absolutely.
and give them a platform to speak if they wish, because they do such a good, I think with Disabled Veterans Outdoors, and I guess we'll just start there since we're on it.
I mean, that's why I was just getting ready to say, if that's where we're going to start digging, let's
right.
go.
I mean, with Disabled Veterans Outdoors, I think, and I can just speak from me personally, like, and when me and Ed talk, it's like, well, you're disabled, and I haven't seen you on a boat, like, and I'm like, right. I get my relief somewhere else. You know what I mean? So I'll save that spot for someone who needs that.
Yeah.
If you're not getting your relief somewhere else, like, me on motorcycles, then, I don't know if fishing, my dad he loved fishing, and, I'd love to get him back out there because he's wasting away to nothing. Um, he's counting the seconds, and
Was he a bank fisher or a boat fisher?
both, right? Like my grandfather was a bank fisherman, fished at the dam. My dad lives, um, I don't know, half a mile from the dam that my grandfather spent the remainder of his life fishing at, and he never fishes there.
My dad's a huge fisherman,
Right.
but he's a bank fisher.
And now my dad had a boat that he had out at Bar Camp, and which is down in Belmont, Ohio. And he took this flat bottom boat out with a trolling motor, and that's what he enjoyed. And his friends had since died that he fished with. So I was never the fishing takes patience.
Uh-huh.
It's a virtue I don't really have.
So, but that just made me think of it. You've met my father.
Right.
He's one of the most impatient people I know. But he can sit there and fish all night long.
yeah.
Like, I don't get it.
Well,
I'm not. Fishing was never my thing.
now it's one of those things. Like if I fish, I need like a spinner bait. Like I need to be constantly moving. Spinner bait, you cast out, you reel it in, and by reeling it in, it lets the spinner do its job.
It lets the spinner spin.
Yeah, and that's kind of how that works. And then once you reel it in, if you ain't got nothing, I'm not one of them fucking let me cast it out, fucking let the bobber sit on the water, and then fucking read a book.
Yeah, Dad don't read a book, but he he usually has a couple of poles.
Right.
And I grew up poor.
Right.
So, he likes to fish for catfish.
Uh-huh.
So, heavy weights, gross chicken liver and pantyhose, sitting in a mayonnaise Miracle Whip jar out on the back porch for God knows how long. Getting funky and nasty because that's what the catfish like.
Right.
Throw it on the hook, throw it out, let it get nice and deep down in the mud. And then because he likes to do a lot of night fishing, take a foam or a paper plate and put it on the end of his pole so he can see when it moves, and then just sit there.
Yeah.
And back in the day, it was drink coffee and smoke cigarettes, but he don't do that anymore. So now it's just sit there and drink coffee. But now my dad plays on his phone all the time. But usually where he goes, he don't have service.
Yeah, my grandfather, he would be in our backyard in the wee hours of the morning with his coal miner's hat on, literally with his fucking coal miner light that had Earl in it. And yes, I can pronounce oil, but I don't. But it had Earl in it.
In tradition to your grandfather.
I mean, and yeah, he'd be out there fucking picking night crawlers, and then take them up to the dam and fish.
Yeah. But that's not our wheels.
No, it's not our leisure. At Chrissy's company picnic, we took Nova down to the lake, and that's where the picnic was, and you could fish for free. And we tried to fish, and with a 7-year-old, she don't have much patience either. So if you throw the hook in and you don't catch a fish, I'm done with this shit. And
Dad took the kids fishing, and Jay caught 2 fish right off the bat. Boom, boom. And then he's looked at me and he's like, "Can I be done?"
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
he's done. He's ready.
But yeah, I mean,
so that's where the DVO is so important,
right?
Because there are guys that fishing is their thing.
Now,
hunting is their thing.
Yes. So, disabled, veteran, outdoors. So, name self-explanatory. You have to be disabled. You have to be a veteran, and they're going to put you outdoors. The disability does not have to be service connected, right? So that means you could be a veteran, get in a car wreck when 10 years after your service, and you're now disabled. You qualify, right? Disability You just have to be disabled. You have to be a veteran, DD 214, all that good stuff to prove your service. And then they will put you, if you like to fish and you're tired of your local watering hole, they have fishing trips to the lakes, to local lakes, lakes in Greater Ohio, in Kentucky, things of that nature. So if that's your jam, they're there for you.
And we're always talking about finding your leisure.
Yeah.
And so this is a great avenue for you to find a way to enjoy your leisure.
Right. And if you're one of those people who be like, fuck that, I want to fish when I want, where I want to come and go, and I don't want to answer to nobody. I get that. I get it.
Go set up at the dam.
However, here is an opportunity for you to find friends, as we have, in a leisure that you enjoy and others enjoy.
Yeah.
You get in a boat, you go to a middle of a lake, just you and someone you don't even know, and hey, well, we already have a common bond, because we have to be disabled
and we have to be veterans.
All right, so let's start there.
And we like to fish.
Yes, right, but let's start there, right? Hey, what branch you serve in? I was Army. Oh, you fucking right. I was Marine. Oh, you fucking, you know what I mean? So, and then you do that for 10 to 15 minutes because you can just rag on each other.
Yep.
Right. And then you're like, where'd you serve? What veterans do.
Yep.
Then it's like, all right, well,
we try to connect the dots.
How are you, what made you disabled? What happened? Well, whatever.
And by the end of the day on the lake, you have a new best friend.
Most likely you have a guy, but hey man, like, we can't do a DVO fishing trip all the time. You want to get together and go fishing sometime? You know what I mean? Maybe you guys are from the same area. Maybe, you know what I mean? Who knows? So, and it's the same thing with hunting. You know what I mean? Again, I am not a hunter.
Nope.
I've had some, in high school, I had some experiences hunting that kind of ruined me forever. And I mean, no one got shot, but which is fucking surprising. No one got shot, but I don't.
Again, patience.
Patience. Again, when we went hunting in high school, we were jumping deer. We were all walking. Like, I'm not sitting here at fucking 5 a.m. freezing my balls off to wait on a fucking animal to walk by me. I'm gonna spritz their fucking urine on me to trick them motherfuckers. You know what I mean?
You just described my father.
Again,
impatient, but we'll do that. Used to get up in the morning and go out and spend all day in a tree stand.
And this ain't me talking shit about people who do that. This is my thought process to myself. Yeah. Why I'm not going to do. You know what I mean?
Again, that's not our leisure. And we know that it's not our leisure.
And I take. I won't say that. That'll come out fucked up. I'll fucking say it because I ain't no fucking pussy. I take more pleasure in the fact that of shooting at something that shoots back at me. You know what I mean?
Break glass in case of war.
I mean, here's my. Now, with that being said, for the last, I don't know when Gary sent me that shit, probably 4 years. I've sent like $150 to Alaska every year for the last 4 years to be on a fucking. You have to be a Purple Heart recipient. You had to be 100% disabled. And what else? I think there was the only two. Anyways, I qualified for this. He saw it. He's like, well, you're the only fucking dude I know qualifies for this. So you have to get a hunting license every year to get your name on the list for the drawing. And they draw you for a moose hunt. Come on, man. Like, if you miss a fucking moose, that motherfucker's going to trample the shit out of you and kill you. That's sport to me, right?
Plus, it's a moose hunt. You can't do that in Ohio.
Yeah, well, yeah, and you get to bring the shovels home, right? That would look fucking kick ass in this bar, and then 500 pounds of meat, right? So yeah, that just makes sense to me. And it's something you don't. I could do that one time. You know what I mean? I could fucking stand on my head one time, but and you get to go to Alaska.
Yeah, but in the Olympics episode, you talked about how you used to be real good at spinning on your head.
Yeah, I did. That was my thing. But you know, to me, go bear hunting with a pistol in 2 rounds. Now that's sport. Huh? No, that's fucking crazy. Okay.
It's still sport.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
go bear hunting with 2 fucking rounds.
So I read an article the other day about how rich Russians are taking yachts out along like Somalia and stuff for the pirates to get the pirates to try to come after them, and then they shoot the pirates for sport.
I mean, yeah. All right.
I mean, probably not as dangerous as the bear in 2 bullets, because I mean,
right.
Let's face it, modern day pirates aren't like the old days.
I get it. I'm the captain now. But I don't know. Like,
would that I could see you doing that kind of a hunt.
Oh yeah, yeah. The fucking
maybe not off a boat though, because that's too close to Navy type shit. But you know, whatever.
Yeah, I ain't fucking getting on a boat. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. And I say that, and I'm up at fucking 5:30 every fucking morning. So what's the difference?
Yeah, big
You know what I mean?
difference.
Like, I don't get cold, right? Like all the reasons I'm like, I'm not freezing my balls off in a tree stand at fucking 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning anyways. I don't get fucking cold. You know what I mean? Like killing ain't the problem. You know,
honestly, even before I became, a gigantic scoop of lard, I just didn't like it. It wasn't me.
Yeah,
I like to shoot guns.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like
that I do.
Yeah, so like it's not that. It's just.
But it's one of those things. Like,
if I had to hunt to survive, I would force myself to learn to, but I don't, so I don't have to.
Like I watch. That's the other thing. Like I watch, Kodiak Man or Mountain Men, or I can absolutely do that. You know what I mean? But fuck, man, it's so much easier if you can go to the grocery store. I understand that's the laziness in me. It's the same reason I'm not a fucking Olympian.
Right. Well, but here's the thing though. To me, I wouldn't get the same satisfaction out of catching a big fish or nailing a big buck and having, like, yeah, I mean, it'd be cool, but I get to ride 15,000 miles. Now that I'm there,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just, and I would venture to guess that putting 15,000 miles on the bike is probably a lot more detrimental to my body than fishing or hunting would be.
Most certainly.
But that's not what that isn't what goofs my goober. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know. But the fact that the DVO exists to allow guys who love to fish and love to hunt, but don't have the capabilities to be able to do that on their own, and also give them an experience that they probably wouldn't be able to get, is the only reason I need to sling money their way.
Right. And I wholeheartedly understand that we are in the minority of men, who don't hunt and fish.
These guys, they would have loved to go on a hunt with DVO.
Right. Well, and I'm sure I've been hunting, I've been fishing, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
When it's not a necessity, you know what I mean? Like back when I was growing up, my mom didn't cook. So we wasn't taking fish home to nobody. It ain't like she was filleting that shit. No. We were still going to LB's Big Boy. You know what I'm saying? So it didn't fucking matter. Like, we wasn't fucking hunting or fishing to survive. You know what I mean? So we were still eating out all the fucking time. Yeah, and you would have thought,
Now with Chrissy, that term has a whole new meaning.
right. Right.
That one completely threw you track.
Yeah. It reminds me of the app. I tried to start an app in 2017, 18 timeframe. It's called Beard Uber. Yeah. It's for any woman out there that wants to ride the face of a bearded man. There was an app. Look at the guy local and be like, boop, just like you would call an Uber.
It's
right?
like
How?
hey,
Would that not be the shit though? Beard Uber. You know
it's
what I mean?
like if Uber Eats and Tinder got together.
Right. Uber Eats. Yeah. A whole different. Yeah. Beard Uber. That was my brainchild. Beard Uber. Yeah. Yeah. But anyways, I mean,
Don't forget to give me them 5 stars.
right. But yeah. So, but yeah, I couldn't get the patent because, I guess you need to be like smart to program to do an app.
You
And
don't even have to be smart. You just have to know how to program.
yeah, fuck all that.
Yeah. So
And then I'm like, well, I don't want to tell other people. I'm telling other people. Well, all 4 of you. I'm telling other people now. But so if you steal that shit,
I want royalties,
I mean, just fuck. Give me a little bit on the name,
or let you be the logo.
right? I mean,
So we're probably not the best people to give you firsthand knowledge of why DVO is so impactful.
right.
But even though we don't have firsthand knowledge of why it's impactful, we still know it's impactful
Yes.
because it goes to everything that this podcast has preached since day one.
Yeah. I mean, you can see the benefits of things without experiencing the benefits yourself.
Yes.
You can see. However, I don't like to fish. Many people do, and here is an opportunity for you to be able to go to a fishing spot that you might normally A, not know, B, it's out of your way or whatever.
Or your disability may limit you from being able to do things that you
Yes.
used to enjoy.
So these guys, they have specialty equipment that can help you. They have volunteers on site that will get you out of your chair, right? Put you in the boat, put you in the tree stand. They have harnesses and all this pulley stuff that, you don't have the luxury of having.
Yep.
Right. And you have people supervising you, and they're taking you to spots where there's a high concentration of deers. People are allowing them to come out and hunt on their plot because they want to control the population, or and things of that nature.
And there's value in their mission.
Yeah, and I mean, when we go back, as we preach, we wasn't friends until we talked for the first time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like talk.
Talk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was because we were forced into a vehicle on a trip for 12 hours. And I mean, not forced. We both voluntarily, you voluntarily.
It wasn't like an ideal, hey, let's take a road trip for something fun.
Right.
I am very much subservient to my wife.
Yes.
And you decided to not let me go into that foxhole alone.
Right. And so by doing so, right, by volunteering myself to do that, as someone would on a fishing trip, or a hunting trip, you're volunteering your time, right? Nobody's forcing you to go hunt or fish. You're saying, nah, all right, I'll give it a shot, right? And then you sit there and you talk about things that are nothing, right? You talk about the nothings, and then, something resonates with you. And then something and then you're like, hey, what you just said right then, that reminds me of boom. And then before you know it, after 26 hours in a car together, you had how many counseling sessions, how many therapy sessions, how many very organic, very
I tell the way I describe it to everyone is group therapy without the dick measuring.
that's it. And it was it was getting to know each other because we didn't know each other. And it was fucking, oh, I had this experience. Oh, I had this experience. Oh, that reminds me of, oh, that, and being in two totally different worlds. At one point, you being a contractor, me still being in the military, but being on the same fobs, being around oh, I was on fob hammer. Oh, my brigade built fob hammer. We were called the sledgehammer brigade. That's why it's called fob hammer. Oh, boy, it's goddamn. You know what I mean? And then you're like, oh fuck, man. Like it galvanizes um, you know, well fuck, man, I hate everybody. Well, I hate you a lot less. You know what I mean? And then that gives you something to build on.
You said something when you were talking about your dad if you want to know how important relationships you can build while doing something like fishing or hunting together, your dad doesn't go out fishing in his boat anymore because he doesn't have the guys he did it
Right.
with.
Yeah.
That's a loss,
Yeah.
like a true loss in his life,
Mm-hmm.
that he doesn't want to go and do something that he enjoyed for a long time because the guys that he did that with aren't here anymore.
Yeah.
That speaks volumes to the type of relationship you build doing something like that. Like the relationship that we have, especially the four guys in Tug. Yeah, we talk a lot, we do a lot of things together, but our bond wouldn't be as tight if we wouldn't have put the sheer amount of miles together. Because those miles, um, that that's that leisure activity that's bonding us
Oh yeah.
together.
Yeah.
So getting in that flat bottom boat with a couple of dudes you may not know, and by the end of your day fishing, you're going to have a bond that's going to be tied to that for a long time, and it will impact you like it's impacting your dad at this point in his life.
Yeah. Most certainly. And I'm always on Marketplace looking for a flat bottom boat to take to get out on take my dad out, because like I said, it pains me to watch him just count the fucking seconds. Like, hurry up already.
He's at a point in his life where everything that he enjoyed doesn't provide him with enjoyment anymore,
Yeah.
or he doesn't think it will provide him with enjoyment anymore.
Right.
So he's only getting up and going to bed because he can still get up and go to bed.
Yeah.
Like,
and my grandfather, he died in 1986. He was 86. And he fished to the fucking day he died. So that, that's my thing. Like, but yeah, I mean, but you need to do something.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And my dad's not a veteran, so this, DVO would not apply to him, but it's just me trying to help him get the fuck,
He's your dad.
Well, yeah. Well, and it's one of those things where when I was in my underwear on my couch and he was trying to get me off the fucking couch, I didn't want to hear that bullshit, right? So now it's the tides are kind of turned, and I'm trying to,
And at some point in our lives, we transition to being the one that needs to care for and protect our father.
Yeah, it's the circle of life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And,
so if you're disabled,
yep,
and you're a veteran,
yep,
and you like to be outdoors,
yep,
get a hold of DVO.
DVO, you can go to their website and get a hold of them. They're out at West Lafayette, Ohio. It's out our back gate down here in Zanesville. Talking to Ed, they're they were down in Kentucky this past week, and Kentucky's wanting to start a DVO down there, and they're wanting to do like a national disabled veteran outdoor deal, and which I think is great. I think every fucking state should have a DVO. I think it's that well, and I think if you have a national body, now again with everything, people fuck that up,
right?
So you take that with a grain of salt, but I think with a national body is like, can a disabled guy from Ohio do a hunt in Utah through their disabled veteran outdoors, and someone out in Utah come hunt whitetail in Ohio? You know what I mean?
Could a disabled veteran who's really not into hunting go and do a disabled veteran outdoors moose hunt in Alaska?
Right. Right. Exactly. I mean,
you know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't have to keep paying that $150.
Well, it's one of those things where, like, they call it the thrill of the hunt for a reason. And if something thrills me, moose, fucking elk, fucking mountain ram, like
big dangerous shit.
I think, stalking a ram up in a mountain and then taking a vertical shot. Come on, bro. You bring a ram home, people know that you shot, 300 goddamn yards vertically into a side of a fucking mountain.
Uphill both ways.
Right? To knock that motherfucker down. Now that's fucking sport.
Yeah. You're not going to be the one out there shooting rabbits.
No. No. We done that again. I did that in high school. A BB hit my head football coach's dog, shot his fucking eye out, and then we ran up downs. Like, okay, I'm never going fucking rabbit hunting ever again. And I didn't. Ruined me. That's one. I had fucking two buddies fucking shoot shotguns over my head because one thought they were shooting at the other, but they were both high. So yeah, fucking, got the shit scared out of me by a fucking grouse because it took off like a 747. Didn't know what the fuck that was. One buddy shot a goddamn raccoon about 72 times because he got wedged in a fucking between two branches. But I'm just saying, like, man, we shouldn't be fucking doing this. I'm like, it just takes all the fun out of it.
And that's why you're an audio head.
Right.
And a hip hop head.
Yeah. That's why. And that's the thing. Like, I didn't grow up with guns. My dad, never said, "Here, son, here's a gun." Like, no. Me sneaking in his room. Oh, what's in this big fucking leather case? Oh, double barrel shotgun. I wonder what goes in here. Oh, a box of shells that, this is round. It fits in that fucking, you know what I mean? Yeah.
I've seen Charles Bronson do it.
Right. You know what I mean? Like,
see, my dad was the opposite. Whenever my dad brought a new gun home, he cleared it, made it safe.
Yeah.
gave it to us, let us play with it,
Right.
so that the curiosity was done.
Yeah.
And then we knew if we touched it without him, he was going to pistol whip us with
Right.
it. So that's how I was with our kids. When we brought a gun home, I cleared it, made it safe, let them get the curiosity out of it. And my kids have never touched the
Right.
guns, and so that, because my dad did that, and I was never, it wasn't something I wanted to,
Right.
the mystique was off of it. It was I did the same thing with the kids. Brandy wasn't real crazy about it at first, but it worked. So.
Well, my dad, my grandfather had an old 22 bolt action, but it had a cracked stock right at the heel of the stock on the grip. There was a crack on it. So I took it out and did some shooting with it, and I'm like, oh, the crack, the fucking stock's cracked, and then cut the stock off of it. I cut the stock off of it because that's what you do, and then I'm like, well, this looks stupid. You just have a fucking pistol grip with a fucking long barrel, so I fucking cut the barrel.
How old were you?
Oh, I was old enough to know better. I was fucking old enough. I don't know, 12, 13, maybe. I was old enough to know better. I was old enough to take that ass whooping too. And I did. My dad still talks about me fucking that goddamn gun up.
So my uncle is getting ready to give my grandfather's shotgun. Now, my grandfather died in 1976. This shotgun now is probably a little over 100 years old.
Right.
But you can't shoot it because there's so many defects in it because it's so old. But it's still, it's
Right.
a family heirloom.
Well, that's like that one right there. 1870, 1890 or something. That was my grandfather's shotgun. It's like an Aaron Lewis song, right? Granddaddy's gun. Yeah. But yeah, that I've I shot that back in the day at a rock quarry, and one handed. Yeah, because I didn't know no motherfucking better. I knew enough about guns to know the business end of it is down here, and don't point that at your face. I knew it. Like, I'm not as dumb as them motherfucking YouTubers that are like, yo, 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 fucking put a fucking loaded gun in my head and then pull the fucking trigger.
Will Ferrell and a desk pop.
Right? Like, Jesus Christ. Like, the amount of videos I've watched and motherfucking.
But you learned the value of recoil.
I learned the value of recoil. Like the first gun I've ever shot was a bolt action 22 that had zero kick, a side by side double barrel with a slug in it. Has a lot more kick, especially if you don't hold the forward assist. And the cartilage in your rib cage will thank you from properly shouldering the rifle.
I was like 10 and I shot a 410, but I didn't have it in. I mean, I was like maybe 90 pounds. Right. I was a small kid. I didn't have it in there right. And when I pulled that trigger, that fucker come up, hit me in the face about, I didn't want to shoot anything after that.
Yeah. But yeah, all that was, it was, I want to say self-taught. It was like more of self-lesson learned.
Yeah, lesson learns, not self-taught.
Yeah, I was taught what not. I taught myself what not to do.
So disabled, veteran,
yep,
outdoors.
Yep.
Get a hold of DVO. They'll be more than happy to work with you on whatever trips your trigger as far as
That's
fishing
it.
or hunting is concerned.
They have applications. They're set up at a lot of the outdoor events.
Yep.
They're set up there.
August 17th,
August
Cambridge,
17th,
Ohio.
They'll be in Cambridge, Ohio. Come out. Hell, they'll probably be down in Cumberland October 7th. So, get a hold of them, and they will be able to talk smarter on this
Yes.
than we will. The intricacies of what they do. They spend a buttload buttload of money. Like it and you can speak smarter on this than I can, but to raise if you raise $50,000 or less, you're not required a 990.
It's called a postcard.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm saying you do
You don't have to do the big long form.
right. You don't have to do the long form. You do the postcard. They have worked their way out of postcards. So that's how well these guys are doing. And with more money comes more opportunities to hunt and fish. And the more they go somewhere and hunt and fish, and people are doing the right things, and they see the great things they're doing with disabled veterans, and then more doors open.
Yep.
And so yeah, give them a look see, and if it's something that's in your wheelhouse, give them a try.
Yeah, and give them a look see if you're looking to put $1 somewhere.
Oh, yeah, most certainly. If you're looking, yes, and
or volunteer.
Yeah, they need those as well.
Yep.
And that's something that we try to express to our veterans in our chapter. You know what I mean? Like, listen, like, first, it's the first aid approach of volunteerism. The veteran you hope first is self-aid. Like, you have to help yourself before you help your buddy. The next veteran you help is the guys around you. You know what I mean? And then it's community. Like self-aid, buddy aid. Then you need to get them to a medic. That means a professional. And then once you do that, they get them to a hospital, right? So I'm using that analogy. So in a volunteerism state, help yourself first. Get out of your fucking underwear, get in a pair of pants, get outside, fucking do something constructive. It's what I tell fucking Callahan all the time, right? Second of all, what I tell Callahan, right? Don't look at motherfucking Facebook like it's the end all be all, like everybody's living their fucking. People show you what they want you to see on Facebook. That not everybody shows you all the warts and all the fucking dark spots. Unless they're members of your family and they want pom-poms around. But yeah, nobody shows their warts. They show you all the good times. And then so don't base your happiness off of what you think other people are happy for. You know what I mean? Base your happiness off what makes you happy, and then go pursue that to the nth degree. Fucking so self-aid, buddy aid is what we do all the time. We see our buddies are down, the winter especially, we see our buddies are down and we're reaching out. We're saying, hey, man, I'll ride with you. Hey, man, I'll come down and do that fucking backsplash. Hey, man, I'll fucking, whatever the case may be, we're there for each other. And then we step that out into our community, our local community, then our national community. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. Them are the stages. But if you're just wasting your life away, just helping yourself all the goddamn time, or saying, oh, I don't deserve this, or I don't, come on. You know what I mean?
I'm going to tell you what I tell my dad all the time. If you want sympathy, go to Facebook. You're not going to get it from me.
Right. And he does.
He does. He's a high school girl sometimes.
And he does. But we love you, Dingster.
Yeah.
I have to throw that out every episode.
So because DVO is a smaller organization that doesn't get the national recognition like Dogs Inc., I felt we needed to talk about them a lot longer.
Yeah.
Dogs Inc. has a huge mission. They cover the whole United States.
Yep.
They don't just help veterans.
Right.
But we got involved because of what they do for veterans.
Yeah, they have a Patriot program.
Yes. And that's the part where we direct our efforts to.
Yeah.
When I think when we talked to Shawn Brown last year, they said they'd given about 1,100 dogs to veterans. And in the history of the program, they have not lost one veteran.
And the last time I talked to him, which was about a month ago, was it? Yeah, about a month ago out in Newark. They still haven't lost a veteran to suicide.
Yeah. So that is like, you don't need to know anything else to understand that value right there.
Right.
Because veteran suicide is an epidemic upon our population.
Yep.
Our community, veteran community. The fact that they've got 1,100 guys that or ladies, that 1,100 veterans that they have helped by giving them a dog at no cost to the veteran, and that dog provides a service, a skill to that veteran. The veteran doesn't pay for vets, it doesn't pay for food, nothing, for the life of the dog.
Yep.
And then when the dog retires, for whatever reason it retires, you get a new dog to replace it as long as the need is still there.
Yep.
And of that, they haven't lost one cat at all in all of that. Like, if you can't see that value.
Did you mean to do that on purpose?
No, I didn't, but I did. After I said it, I caught it. They have not lost one veteran.
Right.
At all.
Yeah.
And if you can't see that value on just on the face of it, I don't understand.
Yeah. What are we doing?
I've got some swampland out in the middle of Sahara, I'll tell you.
So they breed dogs in-house.
Yep.
Down in Tampa, Florida.
They do labs. That's all they do.
Yep. They breed dogs in-house. The dogs themselves go through a rigorous training program. And some make the cut, some don't. The ones that don't make the cut to be a service dog become a companion dog, right? So they have both sets of dogs. They have service dogs. Now, this ain't motherfucking your goddamn Chihuahua that you're tired of fucking coming home and cleaning up shit.
So it's your emotional support animal.
Right. No, these are fucking service animals. Yep. Who, like, if you have a you go into shock, if you have a convulsion, they will crawl under your head. So that stuff. They will know when your mood changes.
The ADA defines a service dog. That's the American with Disabilities Act. Yep. A service dog as a dog that is trained to perform a particular task. Yep. That otherwise the individual could not do on their own.
Right.
So that particular task for most, the first service dog that most people are exposed to is a blind seeing eye dog, yep. A guide dog. That dog is trained to perform a specific task for that individual. Yep. Now you've got dogs like, with the veterans with PTS that could help them.
Yep.
Shawn talked about how his dog helps him get up because of his legs. Yep. You've got dogs that kids, they use dogs a lot for kids that have like type 1 diabetes because they can smell. They can also sense when a kid's about to have a seizure.
Yep.
I tell people all the time, one, human beings do not deserve dogs. Right. Two, I'm rather agnostic in my faith, but if angels did exist, they would be furry 4-legged companions.
Right.
Because that's the closest thing to an angel I've ever seen is a dog. What they can do and what they do for humans, and the response in the way that some humans treat them is just it's more morally and gross in so many ways. But they take their dogs, they breed them in house,
yep.
They train them,
yep.
rigorously train them yep. to be a service dog.
Yep.
That dog gets trained to perform that task. Then that dog gets paired up with the veteran.
Yep.
And then the dog
and that's a pretty rigorous.
And then after they get paired, they have to train together.
Yep.
And then there are some requirements that, some people aren't ideal candidates for one of their dogs because because of the service they provided and how extensive and how good their product is. There are certain requirements that need to be met to
Yep.
have one of their dogs.
Mhm.
Sometimes that weeds people out. But then you have that dog that will enable you to get off your couch, get out of your underwear, get your pants on, and go live your life.
Right.
Now, if the dog doesn't pass that, then it moves into what you said is the companion.
Yep.
That's a dog that's not trained to be a particular skill set service dog, but is still a very well trained.
Yep.
I mean, you got two guys, they both went through ranger school. One went on to become a ranger, the other one's just ranger qualified.
Right.
That's basically what you got.
Yep.
And so the companion dog is still there for you to help you, to be there for you, to not come home to an empty house and stare at the whiskey bottle and the pistol.
Yep.
To give you a sense of responsibility and that you're responsible for something other than yourself. They're just not a service dog by definition, but they will still provide a service to you as a companion.
Yeah.
As how we interact with our pets is how that companion dynamic relationship goes.
And what you need to understand is you not requiring a service dog is not a knock on your disability.
Yes.
You not requiring a service dog is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. If your ailments or disabilities does not keep you confined to a bed, a couch, a house, the darkness, all this stuff. If you can will yourself to put pants on and leave the house, and once you leave the house, you're not having episodes outside of the house that preclude you from doing your day-to-day stuff, then you may not need a service dog like we described. A companion, one of their companion dogs will work for you. But if you think you need a service dog, you get a hold of Dogs Inc. and they will send someone to your house. And when they send them to your house, it's a battery of questions.
Yeah, it's a process.
But are you willing to put a fence up? Are you willing to do this, that, and the third? And if you are, great. And if you're not, then I don't know,
we there's somebody out there that could help you, but we can't.
Right.
We have a standard.
Yep.
They're successful because they have a standard.
Yep.
And they hold to that standard.
So why is that good? Well, when you donate money to Dogs Inc., you know that it's going to be used wisely.
Yes.
That means 70,000. I'm just throwing this arbitrary number out there because I know some dog, 70 grand to train a dog, right? So that money, do you want them to just dog mill out dogs?
Right.
All right, every 70,000, we're just going to just chuck dogs out the door.
Yeah.
And
we're going to take in your 70 grand, but we're going to put about $500 into effort.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. And but
with a Dogs Inc. dog, the process from A to B. And it does not change.
Right.
Regardless.
Right. And some may say, all right, maybe they're stacking the deck. Maybe they don't give dogs to people that are really bad because they don't want that one to show up on no veterans. You know what I mean? To which I say, I think if veterans by definition are not quitters. We've done some of the hardest things out there without quitting. So we're not natural quitters. We get to the point where we don't want to go on anymore. right? Well, is that quitting? Who knows? And with Bear, right? For many years, I had friends of mine, Shawn Jones. Hey, I'm gonna get you a dog. You need a dog. You know what I mean? And it's not one of those things where someone can force a dog on you, and you're like, well, if I get a dog, then now I'm gonna be required to do everything a dog owner does, and I'm not even fucking changing my own self, right? So I'm not feeding my own self half the time. So I don't want that. And I would tell her all the time, I don't want that added
Yeah. A
responsibility,
dog can't survive on video games and whiskey.
right? And I'm like, I don't want that added responsibility. I don't, you know, um, and then you know I got Bear for free, right? Like someone couldn't take care of him, and they're like, hey, you look like you need a friend. You look like you need someone to hang out with. And I'm like, it was, and it's worked out. He's not a service dog, but he does a lot for me.
Yeah, and mine are the same way.
Right. But I wouldn't take him to a fucking movie theater and expect other people to fucking listen to him howl because he don't want to fucking be in there anymore. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I'm like, hey, shut the fuck up. He's with a disabled veteran. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
no. But I'm and it's one of those things where Ohio Cigar Mafia, they sponsored the show last year. And Brian Bowe, a huge supporter of us. Um, he is a huge supporter of Dogs Inc. And Ohio Cigar Mafia is a huge supporter of Dogs Inc. And we do Bobby Cooley does a football pool in our chapter every year with half those funds going to Dogs Inc. And then we match that for him. Yeah, I mean, I'm so passionate about it. I got invited by Brian to go down to Tampa, Florida and visit the campus of Dogs Inc. So I'm excited about that. Also, Bobby Newman, which is part of the Newman Cigar Factory, he is the COO of Dogs Inc. And Newman Cigars are the oldest American cigar manufacturer out of Tampa, and his baby is Dogs Inc. And I've met Bobby Newman a handful of times. We have met Bobby Newman a handful of times, and such a good guy, such a genuine soul. He's from Ohio, so they love coming up. They love coming up here.
Well,
Um,
I think it goes to show how much he appreciates what our chapter does.
yeah,
That last year we were able to give them $5,000,
yep,
and he didn't hesitate and matched it. So
yeah,
our fundraising accounted for what, $10,000,
yep,
11,000, including
yep,
what we gave at the Cigar
yep,
Mafia event. Um, I mean, the fact that we put forth that kind of effort and to see someone else go, you know, it's not $1 million.
no,
There's corporations with way
yeah,
bigger,
yeah,
but a bunch of guys in southeastern Ohio just doing what we think is best and
yep,
trying to raise every nickel and dime we can to put together enough money for him to go, I appreciate it, and
yep,
I appreciate it so much, I'm going to double it in your name.
yep,
You know, that's a hell of an attaboy.
yeah, and um, when you talk about corporate sponsors or corporate entities, it's easy to get a bad taste in your mouth. But then you meet these guys, and you know and they come up, they buy tickets for our raffle bike, they buy, and they're coming out of pocket with all this shit. um and you're like, man, you know, in 20 when we take the other bike up 2022, we took the other bike up there, and you know, we gave $500 that day. We gave them a check for $500. Bobby Newman texted me and he sent me a picture in text of me and him and All Out. Me, him, All Out, and Chrissy, I think, was in the picture, the four of us. And he's like, I just want to make sure I'm texting who I think I'm talking to. You're the big man with the beard, right? I'm like, yes, sir. He's like, okay, send me your address. I'm sending you a personal check for $500 for your charity. You know, that right there, you know, speaks volumes. Now I get it. You run a multi-million-dollar cigar company. You have a multi-million-dollar charity. $500 and is dropping a bucket. But I get it. But you don't have to fucking do that, and you did it.
And not only that, he took a picture with you.
Yep.
And personally texted you. He could
Yep.
have easily just said, "Hey, you know, executive assistant,
Right.
Find these guys, whoever they are, send them a check, $500. Tell them, you know, hey,
Right.
good on you." He personally engaged with our chapter.
Yep.
And there have been entities that have given us way more than $500,
Mhm.
but that $500 resonates with us because of the personal interaction that came along with it.
And that was the first, right? That was the first year Bobby brought up Southeastern Guide Dogs. He brought up, hey, you know, we're looking for other charities. Why don't, you know, and told us, he came in the meeting and told us the story and said, hey, you know, what about these guys? And we voted, said, yep, let's do that. If you're doing your part to stop veteran suicide, that's something I can get behind 100% of the time. So, I mean, it's one thing to get a veteran out in the water fishing and hunting, but they have to survive to want to do that.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, it's a little bit of, all right, let's get them a guide dog, right? A service dog. Have them start getting a quality of life.
Yep. Now they can re-engage living.
Yep. Let's get them in a boat and hunt. And then when they're eligible, let's put them on a plane and send them to Washington, D.C. and have them view the monuments that are erected to depict the service that they gave to this country.
Which is a little foreshadowing. One of our next volumes is going to be Honor Flight Columbus.
Yep.
We want to devote a whole episode to them because we've got some personal stories that are coming along with that. That it doesn't take away from DVO and Dogs Inc.
No,
it's just that there's we've got some stuff that works with Honor Flight that requires a little more time.
And Honor Flight was our original charity.
We talked about that in our CVMA episode.
Yep, it was our original charity. And at one point we only had one charity, and that was it. So yeah, I mean, it's still our predominant charity.
It's our primary,
right? And you know, we have events down in Cumberland where all that revenue goes to the Honor Flight, right? So
it's part of the agreement we made with the Cumberland people.
It's part of the agreement. So you know, they don't have Combat Vets Night down there; they have Honor Flight Night. So all that revenue goes to Honor Flight Columbus, and so yeah. So, but but do you see the lineage? Do you see the, you know, Dogs Inc? Why do we give the Dogs Inc? Because we want veterans to survive the day, right?
And we value their mission and how they go about doing it.
Yeah, we want veterans to survive the day so that they'll feel well enough to take their dog, get in a boat, go fishing. They'll take their dog. Now they don't quite like their dogs around guns. But it's one of those, like, if guns, like, All Out, he was a candidate, right? And there was a big push to have Gary get a dog from Dogs Inc. But like Gary wasn't at the point that he needed a service dog. He needed a companion dog, right? So, but they were pushing for a service dog, and
the people close to him that were doing that were doing it from a well-meaning
oh
place.
yeah. Everything was out of love, but it's one of those things like, Southeastern Guide Dogs sent a representative to Gary's house. Gary has as many guns as I have whiskey balls. That's a problem for people. You know what I mean?
He lives out in the sticks,
Right?
Gary's idea of privacy fence is forest.
Yeah.
And so he
right.
didn't want to put a fence up. So again, Gary could have been a candidate, but because Gary didn't meet or didn't want to change his lifestyle to fit the strict standard
Right.
that Dogs Inc. has,
Right.
he wasn't a candidate for a service dog.
Yes. And, Gary
and that's not a knock on Gary, and that's not a knock on Dogs Inc. They just didn't marry up.
Right. Gary, good on you that you don't need us. You know what I mean? Like, it's not you only have, you're a fucking amputee, but you don't use your prosthesis as a crutch. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it.
Kind of like not losing a cat.
Like,
I gotcha.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
You don't use it as a crutch. Still rode on two wheels, backs his fucking bike into places. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He didn't. He gets out and gets on his motorcycle. That's that's step one. Can you leave the house by yourself without? Yep, I can. All right. Like
Gary's wife works away from home a lot, so he's home a lot alone.
Yeah.
He needed a companion.
Most certainly. He did right. So, and he's gotten one.
Baron.
Yes. But yeah, so you're not undesirable if you don't get a service dog from, they're going to spend their $70,000 wisely, and they have boxes you have to check, and they're going to send people to your house, and then once they okay you and your dog are going to go down to campus, and you're going to go through school and learn how to be partners. And
a responsible dog owner.
Yeah, and a responsible dog owner. So Dogs Inc., great organization. If they're out there. Like I said, they're in Tampa. I'm going down in November, and I'm gonna hang out at campus. I'm gonna go roll cigars at Newman Cigar Factory. I'm gonna drink whiskey. I'm gonna have a good old time.
You're going to come home smelling like other dogs, and Bear's going to be pissed.
I mean,
he's like going to be like, you cheating bastard.
But yeah, so get involved in your community. I'm sure there's plenty of veteran charities in your community. If you want to give to something local to you, like we do, then yeah. Get out in your community and find that veteran charity that is right for you.
Whether it be participating or supporting.
Yeah. Because every dollar helps.
Yep.
So this week's
Fuck That Guy.
Fuck That Guy.
We are going to go to Manfredo Martin Michael Madrigal III. He was a U.S. Army officer.
That motherfucker drinks tea with his pinky up.
Well, I mean, his name is 4 M's,
I mean,
and then he's got a 3 after it. So
I mean,
the 2 other motherfuckers got named that first. So, anyways, he's our fuck that guy because he was an Army officer assigned to the JAG school, the Judge Advocate General's Legal Center and School.
Yep.
He was in charge of putting together training stuff for the JAG school.
Yep.
He was prior enlisted. He failed to disclose a DUI. And because of that, he was being processed for discharge. Well, I mean, you're a JAG officer. You should know that that's bad juju.
Right.
And
you should also know it's not grounds to be kicked out of the Army.
Yeah, the
DUI, you're being kicked out of the Army because you fucking lied, not because you got a DUI.
Yeah. So, especially if as an officer, we've already figured that one out.
Right? You fucking lied to us? I don't care if you shot 2 people in the face.
So this cat, after he got told he was being processed for discharge, he decides to go on a what he thought was an appropriate thing to do because he recorded himself doing it. But he ranted, said some pretty disparaging things about the United States Army while he was...
Which you can't do as a member of the United States Army.
Yeah, because you ain't discharged yet. While destroying Army training materials from the JAG school without proper authorization. So the article said he was graphically describing his ill will towards the Army. So this happened 2 years ago in 22. He just pled guilty. So part of his plea deal is one of the reasons why we're talking about this jackass. So Madrigal, 38, pleaded guilty on July 24th to 1 count of destruction of U.S. Army materials and 3 counts of making a false statement, according to the news release. The charges stem from when Madrigal's discharge from the Army was pending and he was assigned as an attorney. The case begins a national security espionage suspicion because this goofy bastard, in the process of doing that, tried calling the Russian embassy in Washington, D.C.
Right.
Bro. Come on. Now, here's the part that gets that I chuckle at, because we say all the time, your PTS or disability, depression, whatever it is, does not give you a free pass to be a shitbag.
Nope.
That is not your excuse. It is a contributing factor, but it is not the reason why you act like a dickhead.
Right.
So this dude's, his defense lawyer is doing what defense lawyers do.
Yep.
What the facts truly prove, now I'm quoting here, is that First Lieutenant Madrigal distinguished himself as an 82nd Airborne paratrooper and a senior non-commissioned officer with the 75th Ranger Regiment, which, by the way, I don't know a whole lot of senior NCOs that decide to go over to be a fucking first lieutenant that late in life.
I had one.
It's not common.
It's not.
All right. Having conducted numerous life-threatening missions our country asked him to perform. By February 22, the Army was in the process of discharging Madrigal because he never reported a prior conviction for DUI. Now, here's the kicker. An investigation revealed that Madrigal deleted JAG school training materials related to national security without permission and sent a video of himself doing so in a text message to a woman. In the recording, Madrigal expressed bitterness toward the Army, making several expletive comments. He also tried to call the Russian embassy. He tried telling this woman that Russia's reached out to him. They didn't. He called them. Some of his other charges were cyber stalking, threatening. Hold on. Where's the other one? Sending sexually explicit photos that she didn't know he had.
Dick pics.
No, these were of her.
Oh.
He took pictures of her and didn't know.
Oh.
Threatened her career, her family, her pets. Come on, bro. You threatening pets too. Threatened a second woman, another former romantic partner, with a pistol and pointed it at her head. He pressured this woman to give the FBI false information about him to try to help his case. All right. So this guy, his lawyer, because this guy's the shit.
Yep.
According to his lawyer, Madrigal's offenses, quote, offenses, occurred while he was struggling with chronic PTSD. All PTSD is chronic because you're never cured from it. You just learn to live with it, which he developed from close, and I quote again, close quarter combat during his military service and was, quote again, drinking to excess. Now, pretty much describes most guys we know that are having troubles dealing with their PTS.
Yep.
And then he said, Madrigal is considered a disabled veteran. Oh, because of his plea agreement, he's only getting charged for the destruction and the false statements. All of the stalking and weapons and threatening and all that stuff, that got dismissed because he pled guilty to these other crimes. So his lawyer goes, Madrigal is considered a disabled veteran and has been dry for 2 years. He said Madrigal is a wounded warrior who is no danger to anybody and is now on the mend to continue to contribute positively to our neighbors and our country. I'm going to call bullshit. We're going to call a fucking spade a spade. He lied about a DUI conviction. So already this dude starting out is fucking crooked as the day is long. He don't have a problem with threatening women. He doesn't have a problem with threatening their lives, their career. He don't have a problem pointing a weapon at them. He doesn't have a problem throwing a fucking temper tantrum because the Army's kicking him out because he fucked up.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure you say that all the time. If you did wrong, you can't talk about the punishment that you receive.
Right. Facts.
Then, in addition to his temper tantrum, he tries to call the Russian embassy because I don't know what this fucking retard thinks he's going to do, but hey, whatever. And then when he gets busted for all of it, having lied to the FBI, stonewalled, done everything he's done, and he finally gets everything shown to him, and his lawyer's probably like, bro, you might want to, let's do a plea deal so that he only has to face false statements and destruction of training materials. It's not like it's top secret information. It's not like he's going to fucking Leavenworth for the rest of his life. Right. After he does all that, then he's a sober, committed, value member of society who poses no risk to anyone. I'm pretty sure he ain't cured from his PTS that caused him to act like a fucking dickhead for all that time. So if he's not cured, I bet there's still some risk there because PTS doesn't make you do things that you don't already have an inclination to do.
Yeah. And you're never cured. You're always
this dude.
You're always fucking like once you have PTS, you're always you're always in recovery.
I'm not fuck that guy to the lawyer because the lawyer did his job.
Yeah.
I think defense lawyers are not the greatest people on the earth, but I haven't had to have one yet.
Yeah.
So when I have to have one, I'll probably think differently of them.
Right.
But
yeah,
this dude, plus you were a senior NCO.
Yeah.
38 years old. Now you're you're not a fucking 22-year-old first lieutenant.
Right. Yeah. First of all, that's where I would start. Like, why would you go from being in charge to now being responsible? That don't fucking make sense to me. I said the same thing I had a fucking PL. That's my boy, Dirty Joe Cerisi. Like he was an E7 for me. I was an E7 too. I'm like, yeah. Like, what the fuck happened? Like, you went from being in charge to now being responsible. Like, you ain't in charge of nothing now. You know what I mean? I'm fucking in charge. I'm the platoon sergeant. You're not in charge.
These are my Joes.
Yeah. Now you're just fucking. Now you just got to go to the motor pool and count fucking wrenches. You know what I mean? Or BII, and then fucking sign for it. Fuck all that, man. Yeah, I mean, the only reason someone would do that at such a late age is because one, they probably knew they wasn't going to make first sergeant, and two, they wanted a higher fucking retirement check. That's the only two fucking reasons I would think.
Yeah, if he was if he was, I'm going to display my Air Force ignorance here. Okay. So you feel free to tell me I'm a narnar. If you were a hard charger in the Ranger Regiment and a senior NCO, you should at that point be kind of creme de la creme, right?
Yeah, I mean,
So now we're going to go from that to being a second lieutenant at the JAG school in charge of training for national security.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I bet, now this is just me, I bet if you go back, you'll find some glaring red flags.
Well, and right. I mean, again, you're not a you're not back in the day, you wasn't a good NCO unless you had at least one DUI. So the DUI thing, don't fucking. That's not a.
Can he pass his PT test?
Right. I mean,
Is he a max pointer?
Oh yeah, he does fucking 172 push-ups. He also can drive with a blood alcohol level of fucking 2.8. Fuck. I mean, yeah. But so the DUI thing don't fucking bother me at all. Like it was par for the course in the day, you know. And again, it probably wouldn't bother the fucking United States Army, but you fucking lied to them or failed to
Disclose.
say anything. So that's why
Yeah.
you fucking
lying by omission is still lying.
That's right. So and they don't like lying. You can fucking cheat and steal and fucking hurt, and they don't mind that. But lying, that's a bridge too far. So
I hear you say it like that. I mean, it's true, but to hear you say it like that, it's just like, what the fuck? I bet that's a recruiting problem.
right. I mean, it's policy.
Yeah, but he's our fuck that guy because of the whole encompassing
Yeah, the totality of his fuck this.
of his
Yeah.
Like I wish I could dig into his prior history because I bet
See, you do that. I
what I tell you.
Right. You get in that rabbit hole.
I read an article last night.
I can say fuck that guy from the headlines. Fuck that guy. And then
I read an article last night about the VA having a big shortfall.
Yeah.
And then what did I fall asleep doing? Reading fiscal year 2025 budget proposal for the VA.
Yeah. Fuck all that.
To figure out where this fucking shortfall is.
Fuck on it.
Because I got problems, whatever. I want to know how things work.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you I don't want to fuck this name up again because
so
it's super important that this guy's name get pronounced properly and correctly so that everybody knows what kind of a douchebag he is.
Mm-hmm.
So to you, Manfredo Martin Michael, by the way, the Martin Michael is hyphenated.
Yeah.
Martin Michael Madrigal the Third.
You know where Madrigal is from, right? In Canto. We don't talk about Bruno.
Oh.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I haven't seen Encanto.
No?
I'm sure you've seen it like 100 times.
Oh, it's pretty good.
So you, Manfredo Martin Michael Madrigal the Third, you get the dubious distinction of being our tiny little 4-person watched podcast.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
This week's Fuck That Guy.
And we'll see you next time.